Armadilha ou Trap, o novo trabalho do M. Night Shyamalan, que já está em cartaz nos cinemas, é uma empreitada curiosa, o que é a minha maneira educada de dizer que ela está longe de ser inteiramente bem-sucedida. A premissa do filme foi escancarada não só no trailer, mas também no cartaz. Então eu vou considerar que não é spoiler falar dela. Um pai chamado Cooper e interpretado pelo Josh Hartnett, que segura todas as ondas aqui, vai levar a filha pré-adolescente chamada Riley para o show de uma popstar que é uma espécie de cruzamento entre Lady Gaga e Taylor Swift. Uma popstar chamada Lady Raven e que é interpretada pela Salika Shyamalan, que é filha do Night. Tem 30 mil pessoas na arena, aproximadamente 3 mil delas são homens. Tem milhares, literalmente milhares de policiais em todas as entradas e saídas e várias unidades da SWAT também. O conceito meio do além do filme é que todo esse evento, o show, é ele todo uma cilada para pegar um assassino serial que tem o hábito de cortar as pessoas que ele sequestra em pedacinhos. Apelido dele na imprensa, sem muita imaginação, o açougueiro. E assim como no trailer e no cartaz, em 5 minutos o filme vai entregar para a gente que o açougueiro é o personagem do Josh Hartnett, o qual, vendo toda essa força policial mobilizada, começa a achar que pode ter a ver com ele e consegue, da primeira pessoa que ele aborda, um vendedor ali de um quiosque, a informação de que sim, tudo isso aqui foi armado para pegar o assassino serial. Como que ele vai escapar, então, da arena se todas as saídas estão estreitamente vigiadas? Pessoal, o personagem do Josh Hartnett em Armadilha não é bem o pai que eu desejaria a ninguém, né? Que sorte a gente tem de ficar só com o lado bom. Então, se você está pensando que presente diria o seu pai, o quanto você gosta dele e pensa nele, por que não escolher uma roupa que, além de ressaltar a elegância, tenha toda a praticidade de que ele gosta? Por exemplo, uma tech t-shirt da Insider, como essa que eu estou vestindo, ou uma novidade como a Polo Core, que é a evolução da tradicional camiseta polo, com um tecido inteligente, encorpado, modelagem minimalista. A gola é feita no mesmo tecido do corpo e os 3 botões frontais são da mesma cor da peça, básico e elegantérrimo. Todas as peças da Insider são feitas com fibras de muita tecnologia. Elas vão que é uma beleza na máquina de lavar, sem desbotar nem deformar, dispensam o ferro de passar e absorvem melhor a transpiração do que o algodão, o que aumenta o conforto. Então aplique o cupom BOSCOV para ter 18% de desconto na sua primeira compra e 12% caso já tenha comprado lá pelo site da Insider. O desconto é válido em todo o site, para garantir que o seu pai não fique sem presente. E agora de volta à resenha. Essa é a primeira parte do filme e durante toda ela, a Riley, a filha do Cooper, está ali completamente enlouquecida porque está vendo a ídola dela no palco. E durante toda ela também o show está rolando com as músicas compostas pela própria Salika Shyamalan. A Salika faz um pop decente, sem muita originalidade, mas totalmente tolerável. O problema maior é não só ter muita música rolando no palco o tempo todo, mas também o fato de que, de alguma maneira, apesar do olho dele ótimo para enquadramentos, e o Shyamalan aqui faz um uso excelente das lentes de ângulo mais aberto, que deixam a gente ver tudo que está em volta o tempo todo, ao mesmo tempo em que o Josh Hartnett está sempre ali no centro do foco, no centro da ação. O problema é que, estranhamente, o Shyamalan não consegue construir, com esse dilema do personagem de como eu vou sair daqui agora, nenhuma sensação real de suspense ou de perigo. Em parte, isso se deve ao ritmo meio frouxo com que essa primeira parte é montada e, em outra parte, isso se deve àquelas facilitações que o Shyamalan adora botar no roteiro. Todas as ideias que o açougueiro tem, de alguma maneira, dão certo. Pode ser que não levem até o resultado que ele está pretendendo, mas elas sempre abrem mais uma porta. Tudo está tão concatenado, tudo dá tão certo para ele, que Obviamente, a gente não se investe na tentativa de fuga. Outro problema para mim sério dessa primeira parte é que eu achei muito, muito fraca a atriz que faz a Riley, a filha do açougueiro. Tanto nessa primeira metade quanto na segunda, que eu achei bem mais bem-sucedida, o trabalho interessantíssimo que o Josh Hartnett faz com o personagem dele é crucial. Eu acho que a gente ia notar muitos defeitos mais no filme se ele não estivesse fazendo escolhas tão arriscadas no papel do Cooper. Na entrevista que vem a seguir dessa resenha, ele explica a leitura que ele fez do personagem e eu acho ela ótima. Eu acho que é uma leitura além do roteiro e que salva muita coisa aqui. O que torna a segunda parte melhor é que daí mais pessoas vão estar em jogo e todas elas têm algo investido na situação. Nessa parte, a Salika Shyamalan vai ter um papel como personagem, não só como pano de fundo, e não é que ela se sai bastante bem? Infelizmente, o Shyamalan não aproveita tão bem a Alison Pill, uma atriz muito competente que faz o papel da mulher do Cooper, tão bem quanto ele aproveita a Salika. Mas aí, como eu disse, tem não só mais pessoas, mas mais peças se movimentando e a coisa fica mais interessante. E o melhor, para mim, é como se o filme inteiro tivesse sido construído para que este último close no Josh Hartnett pudesse ser feito, aí ele arrasa. Ele é um ator que o cinema americano nunca soube aproveitar muito bem, nunca soube encaixar numa caixinha ali que fizesse sentido para eles. Fez um trabalho lindo, brilhante mesmo, em Penny Dreadful, uma série que eu adoro. E, ultimamente, tem feito opções muito diferentes entre si, muito variadas e que ele tem aproveitado ao máximo. Ele tem uma cena belíssima, por exemplo, uma só, mas muito boa, em um dos episódios dessa terceira temporada de The Bear. Se algum outro ator menos hábil em trabalhar esse contraste entre o que está na aparência e o que vai no íntimo tivesse sido escolhido para esse papel, olha, não sei não. Armadilha teria sido uma experiência bem mais complicada de assistir do que foi. Fique agora com a breve entrevista com o Josh Hartnett e também ela breve entrevista com o Shyamalan, que é sempre um ótimo papo. Hello, Knight. It's such a pleasure to have you here in Brazil.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back.
Thank you. You must be a proud daddy this year, aren't you?
I'm honestly, I'm always feeling that from when they're kids. And again, it's never for me about accomplishments. It's not the end result. It's really kind of, I'm proud of them because they risk themselves always, and they're vulnerable, and they're good human beings. And I'm always telling them, don't play it safe. And, whether they hear this a lot from me, which is fail more. Keep failing as fast as you can. Failure is such a beautiful thing because it's exponential, and most people do the opposite, right? And so I'm so proud of them of how they continue to grow and grow like that.
And they're really finding their way. I'm very interested to know, when you thought of Trap at first, was the setup always a concert?
Yes, it was. Well, it started with the kind of conceit of Salika and I talking about how can we fuse music and movies in a way that's really interesting. And then we talked about Purple Rain, the Prince movie, and how I thought that was an exceptional achievement, and yet it's very, very difficult. Obviously, I'm forgetting when that was made, in the 80s, right? So it's very hard to write an album and make it diegetic, meaning that the characters are experiencing that music in a story. It's very hard to do that. You usually find it as a musical, and they just break out into song, or the song is on top of the movie like score. And I'm saying, no, neither of those things. So that started us with, well, maybe it should be set at some kind of festival or concert. We could set the story as something like that. So that's kind of how it started. Okay, well, how about an arena? So it's indoors and it's claustrophobic.
I thought it very, very nice that her presence there isn't a gimmick,
Yes.
that from some point on she is part of the story.
Yes, yeah.
How was her creative input into her character? Had she acted before?
I originally, one of the things that came from this and why this happened was she was up for a big TV show, and there was a moment where she was going to be this lead of this TV show, and it was about a musician. And I had helped her with the audition for that show. You know, me and her worked together. And when we were doing this audition for that TV show, there was one take where I gave her some notes, and then she's super kind of internal. And as she was internalizing the notes, and then I saw her do this take, and I was like, Salika, that was amazing. And I saw that thing that I look for in young actors and new actors, which is they're able to be pure without putting affectations on. That's the thing you do inside, where hey, you tell me to be angry, and then I'm gonna pretend I'm just artificially. That's not what happened. She was internalizing the emotions, and whatever version happened, that's what it was. It was very pure. So I was like, huh, that stuck with me when we were discussing this. First of all, this wasn't for me to direct. This was
Oh, really?
No, it was just an idea that I came up for Salika and someone else to do. But then when I started to think about how much I love this character, and it's just more ideas came. And then this moment I'm talking about with me and Salika, I was like, I want to see what it would be like to direct you more, Salika. I knew the music part she was just going to destroy. So, and I was like, maybe I could, what you do in music, I could have you do for a character and just speak to you through her. And it was such a joyful experience.
And speaking of people who are not artificial actors, who are very authentic, I love Josh, and I don't think that people really understand him because he's so handsome and
Yes.
good looking, and he is at heart a character actor.
That's so well put. That is so well put, and actually kind of revelatory when you just said that to me, in the best way, right? He's this
Yes.
handsome leading man, but he's really a character actor. And so it's kind of, he's always been this kind of interesting, at odds. That's such a beautiful way to put it. And Cooper's just a wonderful role for him.
How did you think of him for the part?
I
What made you?
Yeah, it was as I wrote it, and then I was looking for kind of someone in their, around 40s, 40 years old,
Yes.
that I could reinvent, that you could discover. And I said, well, someone in their 40s, how could we find like a superstar in their 40s that I could reinvent with? And someone in our office said, Josh Hartnett could be great. And then I called him, and then we talked about it, and he came to visit me, and it was just a beautiful moment when I met him. And then I felt there's this moment when you find an actor at the right moment in their life.
Yes.
That when I met James, at that right moment, James McAvoy, you meet, they're ready. And by ready, I mean they're not guarding themselves, that they're free and they're open. And I felt that from Josh. And we were talking about Oppenheimer, and when I met him, Oppenheimer hadn't come out yet, and we were just talking, and I love Chris and his movies, and I was like, well, it seems like your openness is finding the right human beings that are feeling that, like Chris, and then he did that Black Mirror episode, and then and I said, wow, you're finding these parts, the parts are finding you, and I said, Josh, I think you're going to be right for this, that we should go for this. And it was just such a lovely thing. And we were both kind of girl dads, we both had 3 daughters. And at the center, that's not something he had to manufacture. That part of him exists, that irrational love for your daughter is right there. So me and him could just speak that way.
Knight, it's been a pleasure again.
wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. You have such great energy.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you
Thank
really
you.
do.
You too. It's such a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, I feel the same way.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
I
Yeah.
loved it.
Oh, thank you very much.
I loved it.
A little bit different than this.
Yes. Totally different.
Yeah.
And I loved your work in Penny Dreadful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Such beautiful work.
Thank you.
That's
What about
That's
this?
lovely.
Did you like this?
yes, I did.
Good.
Yes, I did. Can we start?
Yes, when you
Okay. Hello, Josh. So nice to have you in Brazil.
It's nice to be here. I wish I was here for longer.
Oh, I wish you were too. So much to see. Josh, I feel you are in a very special moment in your career, mellow moment in which all those very interesting parts are coming your way. How did this come your way?
I think in a very traditional Hollywood sort of way, it was Knight was casting, but he wasn't telling people what the film was, but kind of an idea of what the character was and what age and sort of kind of guy he wanted for it. And my agents told me that he was meeting people. They put my name forward. Knight said he wanted to meet me. We had a conversation. We really got along, and we saw eye to eye on where the character could go. And the script was so intense, and the character was so extreme in its lights and darks, and it felt like a real challenge, like an extraordinary challenge. And I love challenges. So
I think you're a character actor at heart, aren't you?
I hope so. Yeah.
And what was your creative input toward these characters? I heard recently there's something called Minnesota Nice.
Right.
I'm not sure it's a thing.
Minnesota Nice is the thing. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel you've put it to good use, whatever it is, in this movie.
Yes. So Minnesota Nice does refer to people being overly gracious when you meet them and you're not quite sure what they think, right?
Right.
Like it's kind of, their real thoughts are hidden behind a lot of niceties. And this character has a lot of that, but I think it's also a lot of everyone. Like, we all have a performative side and we all have an interior side. This is just a much more extreme version. And like I said, when Knight sent me the script and I was able to read it, I was like, ooh, this is going to be either really, really great or it's going to fall flat. And I wanted to kind of pull so much of kind of my experience with playing characters that are not necessarily traditionally heroic, but people that you fall for on screen, into this experience, and watching other films with actors that are clearly, like, the characters clearly psychopathic, and we follow them through the entire thing. I mean, a lot of action movies have like these characters at the center who don't care about collateral damage at all. People dying doesn't matter to them at all. Their goal is the most important thing. And I like that we kind of explore that nature within this character a little bit until you get to the fact that he's an actual serial killer. And I don't know, I just felt it would be a lot of fun to try to pull this off and make it credible. And Knight's someone I've always wanted to work with. So
Was it fun?
it was. I mean, there were dark days for sure. There are certain days where it's just not fun to be in that headspace. But some of the stuff was crazy and not something you get to do very often in film. So yeah, it was fun from an artistic standpoint. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't say what it is, but I love that last scene,
Oh,
the
thank
last close-up of you. That's
Thank you. Thank you.
wonderful. You're a father of daughters.
Yes.
Isn't it kind of weird to be such a loving and caring father on the surface, and that other creature at the other end of the spectrum?
Yeah, and my research on psychopathy, I don't think it's love in the sense that you and I have love that he's feeling. It's more he's their projections of himself and how he wants to be seen and wants people to, or wants to acknowledge himself. His identity is kind of based on this relationship that he's created with his kids, and it's holding back a whole dam of kind of self-loathing and emotions that you end up kind of finding a bit of toward the end of the film. And I found it just fascinating that wove into this kind of tapestry of, oh, he's a nice dad. And now everybody's like, oh, you're playing a nice dad in a serial killer. Kind of. I'm playing like a really twisted psychopath who has made a projection of himself for everyone to see that feels like something that's familiar. And that's a fun thing from a psychological standpoint to take on as an actor.
Yes, and you did a wonderful job of it.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Josh, it was lovely meeting you.
Lovely to meet you too. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you as well.
Had a great time.
Thank you.
Se você gostou desse vídeo, não se esqueça de curtir. Inscreva-se no canal e clique no sininho. E a gente se vê no próximo vídeo.